So yeah, as per usual, we'll try and take on a couple of news items that have come across our desks, and then we'll talk about the theme for this week, this midweek session that we are doing on a Wednesday night. Um, so we'll be talking about Cathay Asia Miles. Why, you wonder? It's just a couple of things have come around in the news about Cathay Pacific's own route and network and how they're trying to sort of expand their presence here in North America. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I figured why not take that a step ahead and talk also about the best ways of earning and redeeming Cathay Asia Miles. So that hopefully that would be a good way to sort of wrap things up for folks that might be thinking of using Asia Miles for their next redemption. So without further ado, let's chat a little bit about well, since I mentioned new routes and network, let's start closer to home with Air Canada. Air Canada was in the news several times earlier this week and just before the weekend, I suppose, where they had announced new routes out of Ottawa and Vancouver. So domestic routes are always welcome. And so Ottawa routes were headed to New Brunswick, particularly to Moncton and Fredericton. So Ottawa is going to get two new daily flights year round, which is fantastic, to Fredericton and Moncton in New Brunswick. As an Ottawa resident, couldn't be happier about that. And Vancouver gets a niche, I suppose not a niche for that region, but they will be introducing a new route network from Vancouver to Fort McMurray, which is northern Alberta, which is fantastic. Again, for those folks that work up in Fort Mac, to be able to connect themselves to Vancouver and onwards. To other connections through Air Canada across Canada or even internationally. So all good. All of these, so Ottawa to Fredericton, Ottawa to Moncton, Vancouver to Fort McMurray, all of these announcements that came through will all be serviced using Air Canada's Dash 8 or the Q400 aircraft. So that's for those that may not recognize the aircraft by the name itself. It's the single aisle propeller planes that they have much smaller ones. But the good news is, even though they are smaller propeller planes, uh, you would have probably heard a couple of days before that these aircrafts are going under a complete cabin redesign and will also offer free Wi-Fi, much like the other Air Canada network. Yeah, and all of these routes will be served by the Q400, which is going through its own cabin redesign and free Wi-Fi. Fantastic news. I'm particularly excited to see what they do with the cabin redesign because a couple of pictures that they have shared of the seats look really good because I've had too many of these flights in Q400s and they're pretty cramped and don't often have all of the configurations that I need for a decent setup to get work done, let's just say, right? But the new seat design that is the same company that designed the Q400 seats for Air France, I think. So yeah, the pictures that we saw has a little bit of a sorry, has a small holder for a phone or an iPad and things like that. And of course, the table looks pretty decent for you to keep your entire laptop and get some work done. Uh, So I'm excited to see what those seats look like. Do I think those seats will be particularly roomier or bigger than what they are right now? Hmm, not really. I think the configuration might be a little bit better, but I don't think the the space itself is going to be much bigger than what it is right now. Um, but yeah, an hour and a half. I've only ever done an hour, to be honest, on the Q400s. Would you do more than an hour and a half on a Q400? For those of you that are listening in, Alex is here, Andy, Donna, Rahul, Yidi. I'm not sure who Yidi is, but welcome once again. So yeah, the question is, how long are you willing to sort of be in a Q400? Because if the flight is full, it is pretty cramped in there. Yeah, Rahul says if it's bulkhead, why not? Yeah, fair enough. Or even an emergency exit row. Donna says I've done an hour and a half from Toronto to Timmins. Yeah, I think that would be my limit, to be honest. Ottawa, Toronto, the one that I've done the most on these aircrafts is a very short flight. Like we're talking about flying time of 35, 40 minutes, 50, 55 minutes gate to gate, or less so, 50 minutes gate to gate, that kind of thing. Hour and a half, I think I can make it make it work. But beyond that, I'll start to get a little fidgety because they are a bit cramped, regardless of new seats or not. Isn't Billy Bishop to Quebec City on a Q400? That's around an hour and a half or longer. I think if it's Quebec City, YQB is Quebec City, right? But if it's Quebec City, I think it's going to be more than an hour and a half for sure, because I think Montreal is just about an hour and a half from Toronto or from Billy Bishop. So I think heading over to Quebec City, it's going to be more than an hour and a half. Somebody check. I'd be very surprised if this. I didn't even realize that. Is it Porter that's running the Q400s to Quebec City from Billy Bishop? Because I don't think Air Canada has any flights. Air Canada has Ottawa and Montreal from Billy Bishop, but not Quebec City. But maybe it's Porter that's running those flights. Porter used to at one point also run almost an hour and a half to New York or Chicago, maybe, or still does to Chicago out of Billy Bishop. So yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours is possible on these Q400s for sure. So in related news, beyond Porter does for sure, says Rahul. Yeah, I figured that was a Porter route and not so much a Air Canada route. Uh, yeah, related to Air Canada and route news, Ottawa, London has now been announced as a year-round operation, which is fantastic. It's on a 7879, which actually flew just this in the summer. Fantastic flight, really, really good. And I've mentioned this before. I thoroughly enjoy Air Canada's transatlantic service. It's short enough, comfortable enough. It's predictable in terms of what you can expect from food service, which is pretty tight operation that they run on the flight, and you're able to get nice, relaxed, sleep for a few hours before you land in London super early in the morning. So yeah, I'm happy again, once again, as an Ottawa resident, to see London gets the year-round love from Air Canada. Eventually, this route, so the Ottawa uh, London route, will be served by the A321 XLRs. They have mentioned this in the previous news items about A321s. Once the Mallorca, New Edinburgh, Toulouse flights are all operational, I think Ottawa, London would be next, and Halifax, London might be the other one that will run on the A321s. Won't be surprised to see some Toronto, Spain, or Toronto, other spots across Eastern Europe show up on the A321 as well once the aircraft is fully operational and the services are up and running. Um, Air Canada also announced some new routes, I suppose, into US. These are pretty niche routes. To be honest, this is not something that I come across on my travel pattern. So Toronto, San Antonio, uh, or sorry, Montreal, Cleveland, Montreal, Columbus, Ohio. Those again, great for folks that are looking to go down these routes from those flights, or if you're looking to position yourself somewhere in the States beyond the usual big gateways like Chicago, New York, and whatnot, then these flights could be handy where you can go from a Toronto to San Antonio, Texas, or a Montreal to a Cleveland or Columbus, Ohio. And these are the Montreal flights to Cleveland and Columbus, Ohio are daily flights. The Toronto, San Antonio is going to be 3 times a week. So again, I think they're really repositioning themselves based on demand and also based on how they see those connections to onwards booking that could be happening. So interesting. I mean, only time will tell how these routes shape up and the traffic shapes up on these. But I think they've mentioned it in not so many words that they are really repositioning a lot of these US flights to the Caribbean, sun destinations in Europe, and also repositioning some of the traffic from some hubs into these smaller routes, perhaps, because there is a bit more of a demand. Yeti says, would love to see the plane change from the Halifax London route. I had to fly it last year on the MAX 8 and it was barely survivable from Vancouver to do MAX 8 back to back. Yikes. Oof. Yeah. I can't. Where did I go Max 8 recently? Mexico City, I think I did Max 8 with United, but at least I was in United first, so it wasn't as bad. But I can totally see what you mean. Yeah, plane change for the Halifax London is coming almost certain, like 99.9% certain. It'll be the A321 XLRs, much like the London Ottawa route will be eventually. We just have to wait and see sort of how early will we see these aircraft in operation on these routes. I think the delivery of the A321 XLRs is scheduled for early spring 2026, but the Mallorca flight and the New Edinburgh flight and all of those are not starting off till later in June, I suppose. So don't be surprised if you happen to see some of these A321s flying around in these domestic sectors or North American sectors, just to get the crew trained up and used to the aircraft and operations. Once it smoothens out, then they might start doing the cross-Atlantic routes. So yeah, looking forward to it, and I'm sure that Halifax London flight will get swapped for A321 XLRs as soon as the aircraft is ready and ready for more capacity within the operations. Um, Let's switch over to another good promotion, sort of periodic promotion that we've seen. So Edmonton's Best Hotel promotion returns for new bookings until the end of the year. So they've given us a solid window from September all the way through to 31st December 25. So this is the typical promotion that we've seen. Prepaid MasterCard tends to be the best sort of award or your return from these. So if you book hotels for one night, you can get up to, not up to, you'll get $50 prepaid MasterCard. 2 nights you get 150, and 3 nights you get 225. So obviously the best bang for your buck is to stay up to 3 nights and get that $225 prepaid MasterCard. I quickly perused around, and there are some properties that you can really uh, get almost 225 back if you were, I mean, almost a one night or 1.5 nights worth back if you were staying for 3 nights and get the $225. The good news is much like the Stay Vancouver and Richmond promotions. Stay Vancouver and Stay Richmond promotions. These bookings are done directly. So once you put in your request, the bookings are done by the organization directly with Marriott. So you will see your Elite Night awards post, which is fantastic, especially happening towards Q4, towards the end of the year. If you are a few nights short on reaching status, be it platinum, be it titanium, heading to Edmonton might be the cheapest, not cheapest, cheapest way of doing it. So yeah, if you are in Alberta or if you're crossing Edmonton in your upcoming travels, this is a great promotion for you to look at. Right. Has anybody? I've never used the Edmonton hotel promotion. Have any of you used the Edmonton hotel promotion? I've done Stay Vancouver. I think I've done Stay Richmond one once a couple of years ago. But the Edmonton one is the one I've never done. And I wondered if it's so sort of the Edmonton one now talks about doing the um, doing these prepaid Mastercards as an e-gift card, which shows up in your email account uh, within the day, within the next day of checking in. What I have experienced with Stay Vancouver and Stay Richmond, my Stay Vancouver one that I did was perhaps earlier this year or maybe late 2024. And when I was checking in, they handed me a nice little envelope with a thank you letter or a welcome letter, whatnot, telling me all of my benefits of the bookings. And also the physical gift card was in the envelope. So I still received a physical gift card with my Stay Vancouver hotel. I think the Stay Vancouver, yeah, it was earlier in 2025 when I was there for Vancouver meetup, the PMB meetup in Vancouver. So surprised to see Edmonton hotels are doing e-gift cards. That's a much better way of doing it if you ask me. And then you are able to, if you get that sort of e-gift card right away, say you check in tonight, tomorrow morning that e-gift card hits up your inbox, you are able to use that towards your very stay as well to subsidize your stay, which is fantastic. So I don't think that aspect of it changes because that was one of the things with Stay Vancouver, right? Or Stay Richmond. Once you got the physical card at checkout, you would ask them to use whatever was available on that card. So that way you were leaving the hotel while utilizing your gift card for that particular stay. Uh, so all of the basics remain the same. Right. Based on, Yuri says, yes, last time I did it was 2023. Think I stayed at the South Side. Cannot remember when I got the. Oh, so it was still e-Mastercard, eh? Okay, good. So that remains consistent, I suppose. I was under the impression that all of these, including Edmonton, was always a physical gift card. So I suppose Stay, Vancouver, and Richmond have stuck to their physical gift cards and Edmonton's best hotel promotion is now or has been doing the e-gift card or e-Mastercards um, for a while now since you did that in a couple of years ago. Cool. As September winds down, let's talk a little bit about some of the credit cards that you must pay attention to. So I always like to do these rundowns at the start of the month and towards the end of the month, and we are just 1 week out. So you get to tell me which cards have been on your radar and you think are best bang for your buck, at least for this particular month coming through. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to TD First Class, which is TD First Class travel card, which is currently running a promotion of up to 165,000 bonus points and first year free, of course, which is fantastic. So that card definitely should be high up on your radar if you were hoping to get a TD card or if you were hoping to get a Visa Infinite card this month. Scotia Amex Gold, one of the perennial household favorites on my end here, is now also first year free and up to 50,000 bonus points. And that promotion sort of is a flow from August into September. It remains with us till October, so you have another month or so to go. But if you really wanted to maximize an Amex Gold card in your wallet with first year free, Scotia Amex Gold is right up there. RBC Avion Visa Infinite, can't say enough good things about that card. We'll talk a little bit about that card later when we're talking Cathay as well. But yeah, 55,000 bonus points on that card. A fantastic card for, especially for those that know the best uses of an Avion point, be it transferring to Avios or Cathay or using it for their fixed redemptions with a 2.0 cent redemption within the program itself. Great use. And I know this card doesn't always get all the best rap, but the BMO VI Porter World Elite card with its 70,000 bonus and first year free has stuck it out for a while now. So I think next couple of months, and we should see the first change of iteration, if unless they decide to sort of extend that particular promotion. But at least for now, it continues to be 70,000 bonus first year free and a very, very solid proposition from, I mean, one of the best. And at some point, we will talk a little bit about the best co-brand airline co-brand card here in Canada. Now that Porter has been in the market for a while, Air Canada, of course, has a robust portfolio of cards and WestJet cards that have seen its own sort of changes or announcements of changes that have come through in the last few weeks. So we will talk about that. We just wait maybe for next month. Transition to talking a little bit about another news item, which is what brought forward the core subject for tonight's discussion, was Cathay Pacific is returning to Seattle with daily flights 5 times a week, which is amazing for everybody that likes Asia Miles, yet another destination in North America. So now they have up to 9 destinations in North America where you can fly Cathay direct into Hong Kong and onwards into their sort of into through their network. So Boston, Chicago, Dallas, um, LA, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, starting in October, and then Vancouver, of course, out of Canada, and Toronto. Vancouver continues to be the only one that will have the ARIA suite, so that hasn't changed. All the others will be flying the A350. The A350 obviously is a newer aircraft, but doesn't have first class, for example. If you want to fly first class, you should be looking for 777s. So Cathay 777s still have some of the first class cabins, but a lot of their routes now, I noticed Dallas, Seattle for sure, San Francisco, and all of them are Toronto are on the A350 900s. So yeah, great aircraft, newer seats for sure, newer business class configuration, but not the Aria suite if you were looking for that, because for that you would still have to route yourself out of Vancouver. Every day there's multiple flights that leave, Cathay flights that connect Vancouver and Hong Kong, and not every flight or not every aircraft on the day has the Aria suite. So you have to be careful, look for the 777s, not the A350, and then definitely dig a little bit further and look at the seat map before you make any of these bookings. Uh, yeah, so that was the news. The fact that they're coming back into Seattle. So great, we get one more destination out of Western Hemisphere, or sort of not hemisphere, Western U.S. Airport that we can hop off, including San Francisco and Seattle and LA. So LA, Seattle, San Francisco. So all three big airports have Cathay connection now onto Hong Kong. And the other big news that was attached to this news item was the fact, oh, they announced JFK is getting the Cathay flagship lounge. Terminal 6, JFK is getting the flagship lounge. This was announced already, but the fact that they have now announced that that lounge will be ready for 2026. And so anybody flying in and out of JFK on Cathay can definitely make use of that flagship lounge. I just don't have more details in terms of what that lounge may look like or does look like. There's been no teasers. I do remember some renditions of those when the plan was initially announced, but I haven't seen any of the lounge pictures since then. So, anyways, JFK flagship lounge, Terminal 6. Will be is scheduled to be ready for 2026. They haven't said when in 2026, but typically what I infer when they don't give you a specific month is that they will be ready for the peak summer travel. So June, July onwards, we should have access to that particular flagship lounge out of JFK. Right. Let's talk a little bit about. So last time I'd flown Cathay. I was still redeeming them out of Alaska, and this was 27. I mean, all the way through to 2018. I think 2018 was my last one where I'd connected from Toronto to Hong Kong onwards to Mumbai. I think that was my last route I did. So it's been a while. It's been what, 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years. So it's about time that I go back, and I've been putting a little bit of focus on my Asia Miles account as well. So transferring a little bit every now and then. So let's talk about the best ways of earning Asia Miles here in Canada. So perhaps their primary card is the Neo Cathay World Elite card now, which has offered up to 60,000 miles. In terms of the earning potential on the card, you can earn up to 5x with some of the Neo partners on that card. But essentially, the card is strong for 4x earn on Cathay purchases itself. So if you're doing cash purchases of Cathay flights, then that card is really solid with the 4x return. And then you also get 2 times Asia Miles on any foreign transactions, which is also good because even though that card will charge you the 2.5 percent in foreign transaction fee, you are essentially only paying 0.5 because you are getting 2x in return with those points if you want to see it that way. So that's one way of thinking about it, and then 1x and everything else. So like I said, the acquisition offer is really good, and that card is a really strong card for those that dabble in the Cathay Pacific ecosystem or the Asia Miles ecosystem fairly regularly. So that remains a standalone card here in Canada for us, which is the Neo Cathay World Elite card. The other card, of course, that's the only card that directly earns Cathay miles. The others, you'll have to think about your transfers. So RBC Avion cards, which, like I said, 55,000 bonus right now. You can combine them with Ion Plus cards or Ion cards as well, and really boost up your balance, your Avion balance before moving them to Asia Miles at 1-to-1. So very strong card. In fact, I'd go on to say that given how readily people can get approvals with the RBC Avion card or the Ion cards, those cards or the combination of those cards can definitely be the primary if all you're looking to do is move them into your Asia Miles account and then redeem them out of Asia Miles. So I would even, like I said, stretch it to say that that would be my primary currency for Asia Miles here in Canada for me personally, and then the Neo card, because the Neo card, just in terms of the earn, I don't put enough cash towards Cathay in my travel pattern, so I don't think that Neo card is for me. But if I lived out west and I had easy access to Vancouver and onwards to Hong Kong and beyond, I think I would have paid a little more attention to the Neo Cathay card. However, in my wallet, more than one RBC Avion earning cards are in my wallet, which I use to transfer over to my Asia Miles. Yeti says, I find it better to just do Avion transfers to Cathay instead. Oh, yeah, we are saying the same words. Yes, agreed. Yeti goes on to say, the Neo card earning rate leaves much to be desired. 100%. Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at with my own strategy of focusing solely on the RBC Avion ecosystem for my Asia Miles transfers, which is one-to-one. And let's not forget that Amex membership rewards here in Canada also transfers over to Asia Miles. However, it's not one-to-one, it's 1 to 0.75. However, if you compare it directly with the Neo card or even with the RBC Avion card, the pure earning potential, so say something like a Cobalt card, which earns 5x the points at restaurants, at the usual 5x at groceries, restaurants, transit, and so on. That 1 to 0.75 is not such a bad rate. So if you were purely doing it in terms of how much money do you have to spend? Say, for example, how much money do you have to spend to earn 100,000 Cathay Asia Miles by transferring from Amex versus by transferring from RBC? You'll be spending a lot less on your Cobalt card to get 100,000 points that you can then use towards transferring Asia Miles, even at that 1 to 0.75 conversion rate. So just because something is less than 1 to 1 doesn't mean it's a bad option. You always have to look at how much money you have to spend in that card for you to yield whatever you're trying to transfer out. And 100,000 is just something that I picked up because easier calculation and whatnot. So if you think of it that way, RBC Avion card will earn you, even if you had the VIP card, will earn you 1.25 Avion per dollar, whereas the Amex Cobalt card can earn you up to 5 points, 5 membership rewards per dollar. And then if you convert those to Asia Miles, you'll find that the Cobalt runs much, much faster for you to get your Asia Miles earning. That's another way of looking at it. And then, of course, there's obviously the Bonvoy to Asia Miles, which is the simple 3 to 1 conversion. 3 Bonvoy is 1 Asia Miles. And then you also get the additional 5,000 for every 60,000 you transfer. So every 60,000 you transfer, you get 25,000 Asia Miles, which is pretty decent as well. Caveat, in terms of Amex and Bonvoy, all of them take a full, actually, even RBC, the transfer to Cathay Asia Miles can take a little longer. So in some cases, it's taken me full 5 business days to see my points reflected. Sometimes as early as 3 business days, but it's never been less than 3 business days for me. If you've had a different experience with your transfers, I would love to hear it. The last round I transferred over to my Asia Miles was perhaps June or slightly earlier, perhaps May or June this year. And it, like I said, it took a full 5 days to come through. And this was out of the RBC Avion card that I was, or Avion account that I was doing it. The US, of course, has a lot more generous US membership rewards. Amex membership rewards is 1 to 1, as is Citi Thank You points or the Capital One points. They're all 1 to 1. So far better in comparison with something like Amex membership rewards Canada, that is. But when it comes to redemption, the reason I've been leaning heavily on Asia Miles these days is because premium seat availability on partners like Alaska or American, which used to be a lot better. Like in fact, if not from Alaska, like I mentioned, the last few redemptions in 2018 that I did was everything was exclusively Alaska because things were readily available. But since COVID, since 2020 or even 2021 and beyond, we've seen that Asia Miles has become really stingy or Cathay has become really stingy about releasing partner awards, and they rather do it directly from their program. So if I was to advise you about your points, move it to Asia Miles instead of moving it to an American if you are looking to sort of book premium cabin awards because Asia Miles is a lot better. And the other nugget, and I don't know how many of you already know this if you're doing this consistently, um, Asia Miles or Cathay Pacific Asia Miles remains one of the few One World partners that releases award inventory a full year out, like 360 days out, if I'm not mistaken, in advance. So you that is the first program that'll show even partner availability because most of the other One World partners will open award inventory 355 days or in some cases 330 days. I'm thinking British Airways in this case, but even American will get access to these partner awards 355 days out. But if you have points in your Asia Miles, you can easily redeem it, or you can have at least have theoretically have access to that availability 360 days in advance. So almost 5 days, a full 5 days before you would see it on an Alaska, on an American or whatnot. And if you're really looking to um, you know, if you're really looking to book your first class flights, say with Japan Airlines, which is also One World, or if you're looking for Qantas or Cathay's own first class cabins that fly out of JFK, then Asia Miles would be where I would be looking at. So set your notifications in for Asia Miles, and as soon as you see those, as soon as your plans are confirmed and you like to book it well in advance, then a full year out or 360 days out, you should be able to see that availability first on Cathay's Asia Miles and then on everybody else's. So just in that One World ecosystem, that's another big check or tick mark against or for Asia Miles. Um, the way the redemption is set up is basically I try and find easy ways to remember things. The way I think of things is if you're coming into anywhere out in the West Coast, so think Vancouver, Seattle, uh, LAX, SFO, all of those you're looking at from Hong Kong. Of course, we are looking at that. So either going from US to Hong Kong or Canada, Vancouver to Hong Kong, or vice versa. You're looking at 88,000 Asia Miles. That's the redemption rate. And anything further east, you're looking at 110 to 115,000 out over at east, including Dallas, Fort Worth, Fort Worth. Is 115,000, but here's the kicker. And all the first class redemptions is 125,000, which is fantastic. Even so that typical thing that a lot of people have done in the past and want to do is basically JFK to Hong Kong to London. You can definitely do that. So sort of basically flying JFK to London via Asia, which a lot of people have loved doing that. And you can do that for 160,000 Asia Miles in a premium cabin. That remains one of the best sort of for a lack of a better term, the amount of time you can do. And Cathay will allow you to have two two segments in your one-way travel and a stopover in Hong Kong. So that's a pretty generous itinerary that you can build around that for 160,000 Asia miles. A couple of comments here. I was under the impression that Avion does batch transfers once a week on Thursdays or something. Huh. Was it a Thursday? I don't know, but you could be right, Yidi. I don't know if they're doing a batch transfer every Thursday, if it's that specific. But in my case, it did take a full 5 days to come through. So perhaps I was just in that range of 5 days. For it to come through, and that's what I've noticed in the last couple of times. The next few transfers I do, I'll do it on a Wednesday and see if something shows up on a Thursday. I'll keep you folks posted, but if somebody has confirmed done this, let me know, because that would then make it much easier to then time all of my transfers on a Wednesday as opposed to doing it on a Friday and waiting a full 5 days for it to show up on a Thursday. Raul says, how about redeeming BA Avios for Cathay? Is it too expensive? Raul, BA Avios, is it too expensive? It is slightly more expensive. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know it's slightly more expensive than 88,000. Depends on the route, of course. That said, it's the availability that'll be an issue. If you're redeeming BA Avios for Cathay, by the time BA Avios has access to it, one, Cathay just doesn't release as much availability on partners anymore. And this has been more aggressively done since 2023. There have been several posts written about this by bloggers across the board. And I remember 2023 was the big sort of threshold moment or Watergate moment where uh, things just start getting tightened up. And now I just, to an extent where I haven't seen any meaningful availability on Alaska and American in a long while. I do see some Cathay availability on British Airways every now and then, or Avios every now and then, but they're almost always on a married segment or something that you're doing beyond just Hong Kong. Can you do it? Yeah, for sure you can. I think it's a little more expensive and more than that, a lot more erratic in terms of availability. Asia Miles, on the other hand, is very consistent in at least the premium awards. If you're able to peg it to 360 days in advance, you will see those awards pop up on Asia Miles first. Right. So where were we? Talking about redemptions. We were talking about, yeah, some of the routes that you can do and whatnot. One of the things that I've done in the past, and I've noticed you get better availability if you are simply searching from, say, a Toronto or Vancouver to Hong Kong or vice versa. You don't see as much availability. But if you tack on a segment beyond Hong Kong, for example, then those availabilities do show up. So merit segment availabilities do show up on Asia Miles a lot more, even beyond the 360 days in advance. In fact, I was just when the Seattle thing got announced, Seattle route got announced, I was playing around in Asia Miles system to see what kind of pricing I would see. And although I wasn't able to find anything from Hong Kong to Seattle, but if I did Hong Kong to Dallas, then it was routing me through Seattle in some cases, still charging me the 115,000. That's not to say that instead of paying 88,000, pay the 115,000 and go to Dallas or the other way around. But if you can tack on another route, so say beyond Hong Kong to Beijing to Taipei, like a smaller segment past Hong Kong, then those married segments, suddenly the availability pops up a lot more. And in my case, I used to do, I mean, up until 2018, it's just organically not happened. I've paid attention otherwise. But I used to be a serial passenger on the Toronto, Hong Kong, Mumbai, or Hong Kong, Delhi. I've even done Toronto, Hong Kong, Cape Town, was it, or Johannesburg? One of the other, one of the South African. Again, you were able to do that for 70,000 on Alaska. Alaska is slightly cheaper, but again, the issue is not so much about being cheaper or more expensive. It is about the availability of these cabins. But yeah, for 115,000, if I'm going to pay 115,000 out of Toronto to Hong Kong, I may as well tack on another leg all the way through to Delhi, or in my case, because I go and visit family often in India. So I tack on another Delhi or a Mumbai on Cathay. And Cathay runs A350s to Delhi, 777s to Mumbai. So yeah, fantastic use of mileage or miles, Asia Miles in this case. So a good way to do it would be to tack on, if you're struggling to find availability in premium cabin, tack on just one segment at the other end. Like you said, either from Seattle to Dallas, if that's the case, or the other way, Hong Kong onwards somewhere else, and you'll find that the availability opens up a lot more. But as far as the aircraft thing goes, like I've already mentioned this, but bears repeating, if you are looking to fly the new Aria suites, Vancouver is the only North American destination where the Aria suites fly. And then I think the other one is London. London, Hong Kong, Vancouver, Hong Kong. Those are the only two routes that are doing the Aria suites right now. They are scheduled to come to Chicago and the others, but we just haven't heard much beyond that. And if you're looking to do first class, make sure that you're flying out of JFK, for example, but it has to be a 777, not the A350. The A350s, although are newer aircrafts, and Cathay flies both. Cathay flies A350 900s, A350 1000s. I think the Toronto one is A350 900, as is the Vancouver one. So unless you're doing the 777, the one with Aria Suite, even the Vancouver one is A350 900s. I don't actually know. I stand corrected. Sorry, never mind. I have flown Toronto to Hong Kong on the A350 1000. So yeah, you can get the newer, but that's more a three cabin configuration, which is business class, newer business class cabins in A350-1000s, premium economy and economy. Yiri says, I did Vancouver, Hong Kong, beginning of the year. Unfortunately, missed the J, but the premium economy is the domestic J seat not as horrible, 50K one way. Yeah, I would do it. To be honest, from Vancouver to Hong Kong is almost the same as going from here to somewhere in Western Europe. It's short enough. 50,000 premium economy is a great product. I haven't flown Cathay Premium Economy in years now, but from everything I've seen and everything I've heard from colleagues that have flown, nothing but good things to say. So I'm not surprised, Yuri, that you had a pretty comfortable ride on that premium economy, which is a domestic J seat for sure. It was the 777, but the flight was only three classes. There was no F. Yeah, so you got to be able to watch out. It's just that if you are looking for first class, there is no first class on the A350. You have to look for it in the 777. And like Yuri has pointed out, there might be some 777s that don't have the first class. So always look for look for your city, go directly. So this is how I would do it. If I'm looking to fly out of Vancouver, I would typically go in directly on Cathay's website and look at cash fares. Without worrying about the cash component, of course, because you're trying to ascertain which flight numbers are what kind of aircraft. And once you sort of see it consistent enough, then you know that, oh, for example, CX839, making stuff up, CX839 out of Vancouver is consistently A350, and CX 840 is consistently a 777 with the ARIA suite. Then you ideally want to set up all of your notifications. And once you see the pop coming up, make sure you're constantly looking at the airline numbers and aligning yourself with the right product, if a specific product is what you're in it for. Awesome. So yeah, we spoke a little bit about transfers, a little bit about earning Asia Miles specifically here in Canada, and redemption, some good nuggets, hopefully some good nuggets for you in terms of how to redeem, when to redeem, how to tack on an additional segment, aircraft to look out for, some routes that we've spoken about. And of course, the one thing that I haven't mentioned is one of the best things have been using. Remember, I said haven't been on Cathay for a while, which was a lie, because what I really meant was haven't been on Cathay out of Canada or the US for a while. I've done a whole bunch of intra-Asia trips on Cathay. I remember doing Singapore, Hong Kong. I remember doing Hong Kong, Beijing not too long ago, maybe just before the pandemic. So yeah, within Asia. So if you're doing shorter hauls within Asia, and of course, the other is sort of the short haul within Asia or intra-Asia is fantastic redemption opportunities for as low as 7,500 in some cases directly in business class. More than that, if you are able to find Qantas award availability for your flying in Australia or even Australia, New Zealand, that kind of thing. I've flown Qantas a couple of times now, and both times used Asia Miles and found availability. I've flown between Melbourne and Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. So I've done those on Qantas, and fantastic usage of your Asia Miles again, because you're doing it sort of intra-Australia, so far cheaper to do it that way. So yeah, intra-Asia, or if you're doing shorter distances somewhere in Asia or Australasia, that kind of thing. Of course, if you're doing the longer haul, then like I said, for the one thing that everybody used to love to do back in the day used to be JFK, Hong Kong, London. So going from North America to London via Asia. So Asia Miles can still help you unlock that for 160,000 Asia Miles. Fantastic value. And the Hong Kong stopover or layover is going to be obviously good if you're flying premium cabin because of the myriad of fantastic lounges, some of the best lounge service, some of the best lounges, period, that are out there are in Hong Kong. So be it the pier, the wing, there was another one, pier, wing, and one more. I'm forgetting. All of those just fantastic service across the board. Right. So that was the spiel about Cathay and Asia Miles. Any questions about that before we close this one out? Yeti says, curious if anyone has any idea of the close-in award openings for Cathay flights. I haven't. I don't directly. What I can tell you is oftentimes when I do close-in awards within North America, remember I was saying intra-Asia, intra-Australasia, you could use your Asia miles to fly um, American on the cheap here in North America, or oftentimes, much like I find United availability on Aeroplan last minute for Australia between US and Australia, it's the exact same thing for Cathay Asia Miles for last minute availability on American flying between US to Australia. So if you want to fly American first or American business, or what do they call it, flagship first or flagship business out of US to Australia or vice versa. That's a great way of doing it out of San Francisco, LAX. You can even do it out of Dallas. Lots of options, but I haven't answered your question, Yidi, because I haven't particularly spent too much time looking for last minute Cathay flights on Asia Miles per se. Perfect. All right, folks. On that note, let's close this one out. It's Wednesday night, 10 p.m. now. So until the next time, have a good night, folks. Take care. Cheers.